morning, more church. Glad you're here. New series, Treat Yourself. Everybody look at your neighbor, say, treat yourself. I don't know about you, but in 2024, I am planning on treating myself. You're like, what does that mean? You're about to find out. I'm about to treat myself. There was this TV show back in the day called Parks and Rec. Anybody seen Parks and Rec? And there were these two characters, Tom and Donna, and they would just skip work, and they would have a day where all they did was treat themselves. They would go to the mall and buy some luxury goods. They would go and get a massage. They would go and rent a fancy car. They would spend a whole day treating themselves. And so I've been chewing on this idea because for me in 2024, I plan on treating myself. Now, I don't know what that looks like for you. In the past, for me, treating myself has looked like I'm going to go and get myself a big, thick cheeseburger with some French fries, with a thick chocolate shake with some cream and some sprinkles on top. Come on, somebody. That's how I would used to try to treat myself. Or I would go to a movie by myself. Get some confidence. Go to a movie by yourself. It's incredible. The kids aren't there. Rachel's not asking me 900 questions. Who's that? What happened? I'm like, go get a big thing of popcorn, get some Reese's Pieces, right? And a cherry slushie, and I would treat myself. Sometimes you gotta treat yourself. Maybe for you, you're a manicure, pedicure kind of person. You need a spa and a sauna and a massage. Maybe for you, you need some retail therapy. That's how you've been treating yourself. Maybe that's how you kind of feel a little bit relaxed. You go get some shoes and a shirt and some slacks. You know, you want to go and treat yourself. I don't know about you, but the last 3 years have been incredibly difficult. I've got some L's. We talked about that last week. I might have got over them, but I still had them. And so I've been thinking, man, I need to treat myself. You deserve to treat yourself. Did you know that? You deserve. I'm not getting a lot of amens, but that's okay. You might be thinking, Pastor, what are you talking about? Does that mean I need to buy a new car? Does that mean it's Rolex time? Does that mean barbecue every day? Come on, somebody. What do I need to do to treat myself? Well, let me ask you a question. How are you planning on treating yourself this year? How are you planning on handling yourself this year? How are you planning on stewarding yourself this year? This year, we can find ourselves treating ourselves in a way that feels good, but isn't always for our good. I want barbecue every day, treat myself, but it might not be the greatest way to treat myself. So this year, as I treat myself, I'm going to do a better job at treating myself with some dignity, treating myself with some respect, treating myself like I want future me to be better than current me. I've got to treat myself. But many times how we treat ourselves, Reese's Pieces, is not helping how we should treat ourselves, blood sugar levels. We do these things I'm going to treat myself, but in the long term, it's not really a treat. I'm going to treat myself with a shopping spree. But in the long term, that treating myself is not helping my savings account be treated very well. I want to treat myself and go binge watch a TV show. I'm going to just binge watch it. I'm going to get the whole season done in one night. I'm going to treat myself. But that's not really treating my goals and my accomplishments in the positive way. I'm not treating myself. I want to treat myself good this year. Tomorrow is my birthday. It's my birthday tomorrow. January 15th, me and Martin Luther King, what's up, right? And so my whole life, I got Monday off for my birthday. I thought it was all my party, right? And so tomorrow, I turn 42 years old. Now, I remember when I was young, I thought that equaled 100 years old. I thought 42 was 100. So yes, I'm now 100 apparently. I'm like, goodness, 42 years old. And do you know what I plan on? I plan on still being alive when I turn 43 years old. In a year from tomorrow, my hope, my plan, my goal is to still be alive 365 days away from my birthday. And so if I'm still going to be alive in a year, then I should not just be living for today. I should be thinking about tomorrow. But how we treat ourselves today determines the life that we have tomorrow. You see, what Truston does when he's 42 determines the life that Truston gets when he's 43. When I was 20 years old, The life that I lived as a 20-year-old determined the life that I had as a 21-year-old. And then when I was 21 years old, the life that good God, 20, I mean, it's doing some stupid stuff. When you're 21 years old, the life that you live determines the life that you have when you're 22 years old, and so on and so forth throughout our entire lives. This year, I've been 41. I'm about to turn 42. What 41-year-old Truston did determines the marriage that 42-year-old Truston is about to have. How I treated her last year determines the relationship that I have with her this year. The way that 41-year-old Truston spent his money determines the amount of money that 42-year-old Truston gets starting tomorrow. The way that 41-year-old Truston treated his body determines the body that 42-year-old Truston gets to live that year in. Today matters. Today matters. It's very easy to think, well, someday and later in the future, I'll take care of myself better, I'll do this and I'll do that. But what we love to do, and I've done it, is we put off dealing with major things because it's not that big a deal. I'll get to it later, tomorrow, I love you, tomorrow. You're only a day away, I'll deal with it tomorrow, but today matters. But man, we put stuff off. I remember a number of years ago, I had a big diesel truck, four-wheel drive, power stroke, this great big truck. And the brakes started squeaking on it. You know how it starts? It's just like, squeak, squeak, squeak. And I was like, man, I got to get some brakes fixed. And so I did the research to see how much it was going to cost. It's about to be $300 for just some front brake pads. The bigger the truck, the more the parts cost. And so I was like, man, I do not want to pay for this right now. And so I just kept driving the truck, putting it off. And that squeak just started to turn into a squeak. You know how it is. And it got so bad, I got embarrassed to roll up places with the truck. What is going on with this truck? And so then finally one day, the squeak just went away. I was like, my truck healed itself. It's a miracle. Like, I don't know what happened. And I'll never forget, I was driving down Walnut Creek in Mansfield, right there by the park. And I hit the brakes, and my brake pedal went all the way to the floor. It's a big truck. And oh no, and so I jumped the curb, I'm in the grass, and it had just rained, and so my truck went down in the mud, caused these great big ruts, and now my truck is stuck in the mud. Because I didn't deal with the thing that I needed to deal with previously. And so what happened is that it all wore down so far that the caliper pushed the piston all the way out, and I lost all my brake fluid, all my brake pressure. And so now this thing that would have cost me $300 to fix, I now had to get a tow truck to come and pull me out of the mud. My whole day was inconvenienced. I didn't only have to buy pads, I had to buy rotors, and those were expensive. And so now instead of spending $300, I'm spending $3,000 because I didn't deal with the problem in the proper time. And what I'm going to talk to you about today, I'm not real comfortable talking about, but I want you to think about how you're treating yourself. Because we push stuff off. We don't deal with the problems that are squeaking right in front of us. And can I tell you, eventually, the ditch is coming. A tow truck is going to be needed to help get us out of the situation that we led ourselves to. Today matters. What are the areas that you need to treat yourself? In your money, in your marriage, in your midsection. I got all them M's working, right? Like what are those things in life that you know you need to deal with, you need to work on, but you've been pushing off? What's squeaking? What's squeaking? Right now, some of y'all are so mad at me. I know, I love you, I'm sorry. I would have rather just told a Bible story this morning, but God said, no, I want you to talk to them about treating themselves better because He loves you. God loves you so much that He wants you to treat yourself as much as He loves you. And so sometimes we've got to talk about some real stuff about what's been squeaking. What's been squeaking in your finances? What's been squeaking? I talk to people so many times, they say, Pastor, I need to make more money. Why won't God bless me? And maybe God's just waiting for us to manage what we have better today. It's not easy. It's not easy, but treat yourself and sit down and look at what you've been spending for the last couple months. It's not fun. It's not exciting. We think we should treat ourselves means a shopping spree. You know the best way to treat yourself is to go look at how you've been spending your money. I remember for the first number of years as Rachel and I were married, this was very painful. for both of us, because neither of us were doing a good job at being good stewards of what we had. And so we would run out of money and we'd both get bent out of shape. And so I'd print out like the last 3 months of what we had spent, and I'd get all the highlighters out, and I'd highlight everything Rachel bought in one color, and I'd highlight the things I bought in one color and skip a few, and so we would sit down. You don't know how we do. I'd sit down and be like, baby, what was it? What was it? Amazon, Starbucks, Target, right? Running us into the ditch. And so we would have this big fight. She'd say, well, look at you. You bought this, and you don't need that. What you need a big lift kit on your truck for, dummy, right? And so we would get into fight after fight after fight until we finally realized that we were each other's best advocate of getting out of this problem. And so we had to decide we're going to have a hard conversation. We're going to treat ourselves by doing something not fun. And we would sit down and we would talk about it, and we would choose to not be offended. I'm not going to be mad at her. She's not going to be mad at me, and we're going to get through the thing. And church, can I tell you, one of the best things you can do for your finances is to review how you've been spending. It's so easy to spend $700 a month at restaurants. It's so easy to go to the grocery store with good intentions and buy a cart full of vegetables to just throw them away in 5 days and not eat them. I'm saying, like, we have to treat ourselves and really review how we're spending. It's easy to never shop your insurance. And so you've just been paying the same thing and your insurance went up, and it's easy for our phone companies to just charge us extra $80 a month because of service fees, and we're not calling on it, paying attention. But when we really sit down and do the unfun thing of examining our finances, we have a lot more money than maybe we thought we did. When we really review, man, our car payment is how much with insurance and gas? Maybe I need to get rid of that thing. It's not comfortable, but when we understand what's draining us, that's how we treat ourselves. I'd rather just tell a Bible story, but it's my birthday. Maybe you don't know how to manage your finances. That's okay. Talk to somebody who does. Maybe you have a friend. Maybe there's somebody in this church. That's why we have life groups. You can go to life group. You can make friends with people. You can get to know somebody. And maybe you see, man, it looks like they got their stuff together. Sometimes we have to open up a little to somebody and say, hey, would you help me? My mom and dad didn't teach me how to do this. So would you teach me? What do you do? What are your systems? What are your tactics? Rachel and I, we love to watch those TV shows where a restaurant's about to close down. And then in comes Gordon Ramsay, he comes in, he kicks the door, he calls everybody an idiot, but what he really does is he comes in and he lends some experience and some wisdom. And then they come in and the restaurant's renovated and they're making all this money and they're crying. They're, thank you, Gordon. The guy was like cursing him in a parking lot. 2 days later, he's hugging Gordon Ramsay. Sometimes you need a Gordon Ramsay. Sometimes you just need somebody who can talk to you about your finances to help you get out of that situation. What's been squeaking in your finances? What's been squeaking in your marriage? Treat yourself. I'm about to be married to her for a long time. I got kids with her. So even if we get mad and I'm like, forget you, and she's like, well, forget you, right? And so we still got kids together. I'm about to be connected to that woman for the rest of my life. So you know what I should do? Treat myself and work on it. Work on it. And I can't tell you how many times I get calls from couples that they're at the brink of divorce. And now one of them wants to work on it and one of them's done. They're done because they've been in the cycle of waiting and waiting and waiting. I'm not waiting anymore. I don't believe your words. They're not valuable to me anymore. And I'm not trying to bring up stuff if you've been through a really rough marital situation. But I'm trying to help us step into the future in a more positive light. That we have to work on our marriages. You know why? Because offense only grows. Distance only grows. Miscommunication only grows. It doesn't just heal itself. It's not like you're just going to wake up one day and have went to a steak restaurant and bought her some flowers and now everything's fixed. It's work. Everybody say work. It's work. I've done a lot of work in my life. I have roofed houses in the summer. I have dug fence posts in Texas soil. I have split logs. I have shoveled snow out of driveways. I've laid on my back under a truck for 2 days trying to get a broken bolt out with my fingers bleeding. I've worked hard in my life. But the hardest work I've ever done has been in my marriage. It's hard. It's exhausting. It's frustrating. It's the worst. It makes you mad and insecure and angry. but it's the most rewarding work I've ever done in my life. It's the most beneficial work that I've ever done, to sit down with her and to tell myself, I'm not going to get mad, I'm not going to talk, I'm going to listen. It's been the hardest thing to go to a counselor and explain the story, and for the first 5 sessions, the counselor thinks I'm the worst and that I'm the problem and that she's an angel. And it's hard to sit there. But then after some time, it starts to come out, well, this is what Truston's doing, and this is what Rachel's doing. And it takes some time. I'm telling you, it's hard to go to things like Reengage. It's hard. It's hard. Because now you come and you hear all these stories and you hear some Bible verses, and then you have to go home with the same person that done been ticking you off for the last 8 years. And it's hard. It's slow going. But I'm telling you, it is the most beneficial thing that you will ever do in your whole life. Treat yourself and work on your marriage this year. Treat yourself. You don't need another vacation together. You need some counseling time together. More cars or houses or clothes or sex or whatever aren't going to fix the communication breakdowns that have been happening. You know why it's so hard? Because you come into marriage as 2 totally different people. She has opinions, I have opinions, and we both think they're right. I have baggage, she has baggage, and we don't understand it for each other. I have this communication style, she has hers. I have this love language, she has hers. We're different people, and we try to live under one roof and try to raise kids and try to balance the budget, and it's hard work. And so sometimes we have to take some time to treat ourselves, to work on it. Now that I've opened up a giant can of worms about marriage, and half of y'all are really ticked at me, I want you to understand that you can get through it. That God is for you and the miraculous is possible. That God can make all things new. So here's what I want to do. If you have been through Reengage, would you stand up? Stand up. If you've been through Reengage. Now stay standing, don't sit down. Now, I want you to look around at these couples. And if you have a question about what it is, I want you to go and ask any one of them. Go and ask them. What was it like for you? What did you learn? What did you hear? Was it hard? Was it easy? And I am not going to take 20 minutes and talk about all the details, but can I tell you what Reengage does? Is it allows you to see you're not alone in it. Because these people have battled addiction, and they've battled infidelity, and they've battled abusive words and actions, and there's all kinds of testimonies. But can I tell you, when we start talking about our mess, God can bring freedom into that situation. Okay, thank you guys. So Reengage starts this Thursday. This Thursday, here in the zone, January 18th at 6:30, and it's totally free. And it's for 16 weeks. Like 16 weeks. You know how many weeks in a row you take your kid to baseball practice? What does your kid need more? Baseball practice or parents that will stop fighting with each other all the time? I'm just saying, like, I know I'm bringing it real hard this morning, but it's because I love you. It's my birthday. I would rather just tell a Bible story and do a song and a dance and dismiss everybody and go eat some barbecue. But God said, Truston, it's the beginning of the year. They got to learn how to treat themselves. What your kids need is you to love them enough to work on your marriage, not just put a Stanley cup under the tree at Christmas time. Who cares how much money we make if we hate each other? If we can't spend time with each other? All right, that's good. Squeaking. What's squeaking? All right, squeaking in your finances, squeaking in your marriage. What's been squeaking in your health? Oh, God, we're going there today. What's been squeaking in your mental health? In your emotional health? In your physical health? What's been squeaking? My prayer is that this year you treat yourself. That you take care of yourself so that you can step into your next year healthier than you are this year. One of the most damaging things in our health is stress. Stress, unbalanced, messes up all of the regulatory systems in our mind, in our emotions, and in our physical body. Did you know that there's ways and tools to learn how to navigate stress? And it's not just like winning the lottery. So, like, yay, I won the lottery, I have all this money, I have no more problems. No, there's rich people got problems, right? Like, it's not just about that there are real tools that we can start to learn to manage this stress in our life. Taking some time every day to be thankful for what you do have is a way to manage stress. My wife preached an incredible message a couple weeks ago on gratefulness. Prayer time. Every day talking to God, saying, hey, God, I want to cast my problems on you. Talking to God about your worries and the things you're afraid of and what you're mad about allows him to come in and give you peace that surpasses our understanding. We got to navigate that stress. Scheduling some time to rest, to be peaceful, to be quiet, so that we're not go, 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 go. Eventually, you are not a machine. You cannot just pour more fuel in and expect to keep going. We have to rest, and that's how we deal with stress. Pulling some tension out of your life. For me, one of the greatest tension inducers is this little guy right here. You know how much tension gets brought into my mind because I'm just scrolling and looking at stupid stuff and comparison and fights and arguments, and de-stress from this thing. Removing yourself from drama-filled relationships. Like, I love you, but see ya. I'm going to keep you at an arm's distance because you be stressing me out. This year, treat yourself and take care of yourself so you can step into something new. Can I tell you, church, you get one body. That's it. You only get one. Elon has not yet designed another one you can go and buy at Walmart. It's not out there. It's not yet. It's not out there. There's not another body on the shelf for you to go and get. And do you know what I know? Next year, when I turn 43, I'm going to be living in the same body. And the body that I get then is determined upon the decisions that I make in this body now. It might taste good and feel good and be fun to turn up. It might be great now, but treat yourself with some respect so you can step into everything that God has for you. Is your body squeaking? Is your body, I know some of y'all body's squeaking, but is your body squeaking? Is there something going on that you're just avoiding? Are you just ignoring it? A couple months ago, Pastor Tim was preaching, and he told the story. I don't remember what he was referring it to, but he told the story about how he had this car that the engine light came on and was making a weird noise. And Tim said, and so what I did is I just got a picture of Beth, and I put the picture of Beth over the engine light. And I'm sitting over here thinking, Tim, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my whole life. But yet I refused to get on a scale for almost 2 years. Which is stupider? Which one is worse? To be like, I'm not going to look at it. If I don't look at it, it doesn't exist. We have to treat ourselves. And so today, I'm going to read some facts to you, and I'm going to do a little different. They're going to bring a table out for me, a table and a chair. And I wore this sweater. Y'all like my sweater? I feel like Mr. Rogers. I feel like I got my Mr. Rogers sweater vibes. And I'm going to sit down because I think the stuff I'm about to talk about is kind of heavy. So today, I'm going to talk about some stuff that is historically heavy. And I'm going to sit down with my Mr. Rogers sweater on so you don't feel like I'm preaching at you. I just want to read some facts to you out of love because I care for you. And I want you to treat yourself in a way that's beneficial for you tomorrow. So here we go. Just going to look how comfortable we are. Don't I look pleasant and gentle? Ready? Treat yourself. Are you still smoking? Are you still smoking? Let me just read some stuff. Smoking causes more than 480,000 deaths each year in the United States alone. I don't want to have to do your funeral because you're not treating yourself. Smoking causes cancer, that's not good, heart disease, stroke, lung disease, diabetes, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, emphysema, and chronic bronchitis. Smoking also increases the risk of tuberculosis, certain eye diseases, and problems in the entire immune system, including rheumatoid arthritis. If you're smoking, I love you, God loves you. But do you love you enough to treat yourself right? I know you've been about to quit 30 times. This is your rattle. This is God rattling your cage to say it's time to treat yourself. I mentioned smoking in a message, I don't know, a long time ago. And I had a guy come up to me in the lobby, and he goes, "Hey, preacher, you didn't say nothing about chewing tobacco." "You didn't say nothing about chewing tobacco." And he smacked me in the arm, and he starts to walk out of the lobby. And I start, "You didn't say nothing about chewing tobacco." And he ran out of the building, he was out the door, he was gone. And so, all right, I stood up from my chair. See what happens? Chewing, it's just, here, let me just read some stuff. Chewing tobacco raises the risk of heart disease, stroke, and cancer. It wears down teeth, causes gum disease, and gives you permanent bad breath to every person that you talk to. This year, treat yourself. Don't treat yourself to put another dip in, treat yourself to get rid of the dip. All the young people are like, "Man, I don't know who would ever smoke cigarettes." Vaping. Vaping causes chronic lung disease and asthma. Sweet-tasting vapes are filled with sugar, and they spike blood pressure and can lead to type 2 diabetes. Plus, in my opinion, puffing out giant plumes of smoke makes you look like a cartoon choo-choo train, not like a cool guy. And so treat yourself. Treat yourself to say, you know what, this thing that's been chasing me, that I've been addicted to for a while, it's time for me to really wrestle it. Because I gotta tell you, the ditch is coming. There's a point that you gotta wear one of them oxygen masks or something that comes up because we're just not dealing with it. Okay, do you love me? Okay, some of y'all about to get mad, but before I say this, I gotta sit down. Before I say this, I don't want you to hear me as I don't want you to perceive this from a spiritual perspective, but from a healthy perspective. Because I think that sometimes pastors in the past have used this next point as a Bible bashing opportunity. And so I'm going to talk about alcohol. And I don't want you to hear like, "Man, Pastor Truston's really coming down." No, I'm not. I just want you to really review, how are you treating yourselves? Because I know there's all the arguments. Well, they drink wine in the Bible, and you know, what is drunk? And the Bible says don't be drunk, but what's the level? Is that the police's level, or that's my, like, I'm falling down level? Like, what's the point? I'm not talking about any of that spiritual stuff. I'm talking about treating this one body that you get with some respect. Alcohol interferes with the brain's communication pathways, and it greatly affects the way the brain works in the short term and the long term. These disruptions can change mood and behavior and make it harder to think clearly and move with coordination. We all know that that's true. I can't tell you how many times Rachel and I have talked with couples that have trauma in their marriage because of how they acted while inebriated. Just because you did something dumb while you were drunk doesn't take away the hurt that it causes to the people that you love. It's not like I'm drunk, so I get a free pass to say hurtful words to my children or my spouse. I was drunk, so because I flirted with this person or had an affair or did this thing, it's not a free pass for their hurt. And so I think that we should treat ourselves in a way that we would want to stop hurting the people that are around us most. I love you. Drinking takes a toll on the liver, and it can lead to a variety of problems and liver inflammation. Alcohol eventually leads to pancreatitis, which is a big deal. Do you remember when you were a kid and you would fall off your bike and scrape your knee up real bad, and your mom or whoever would come and dump rubbing alcohol on it? And she'd be like, "It's not gonna hurt that bad." And you're like, "Ah!" You know, it was worse than falling off the bike. The reason they would do that is because it killed all of the what? The bacteria in the wound. Alcohol kills bacteria. Do you know how your body digests food? That inside of your stomach is bacteria that helps you digest everything that you eat. Let me read it for you. Alcohol causes an imbalance in the microbiome of the gastrointestinal tract. Some of us can't lose weight because we are killing our body's ability to digest food that we eat. Some of us have unbalanced hunger and cravings because we are killing our natural balance because the alcohol is killing the bacteria that we need to really live. Some of us can't get emotionally balanced because we're all thrown off in our gut health because we're not thinking that we're drinking something that kills bacteria. Alcohol, it messes up your nitric oxide percentages in your body that your body can create, which can lead to major sexual dysfunction. A lot of guys have erectile dysfunction because they're drinking too much alcohol, and so the body can't produce nitric oxide, and they're taking all these pills that just spike their NO. Is it weird to talk about in church? Yes. I'm sweating because of this sweater, the heat, and I just am talking about erectile dysfunction. But it's my birthday. We don't think that the way that alcohol was first designed was a way to stabilize food so it wouldn't go bad. It's a liquid carbohydrate. And so drinking a six-pack is like eating 2 loaves of bread. And we wonder why our health is falling apart everywhere. All I want you to do is to think about how you're treating yourself. I think sometimes we find ourselves drinking in social environments because it helps loosen us up a little bit. Yeah, about to turn up, right? And so, but do you know the reason that we feel insecure in social moments is because we have an emotional need that we need to deal with. And so maybe instead of ignoring the squeak of our own insecurities, our own inadequacies, if we would stop inebriating ourselves, self-medicating, we could take care of ourselves and not need to get drunk to go and have a good time. I love you so much. I love you so much that I'll talk about uncomfortable things so that we can treat ourselves. Here we go. Next one. Sugary beverages. Like soda. I'm just reading this stuff off the internet. This is like American Health. I don't know what the website was. Somebody who knows what they're talking about. Sugary beverages like soda are linked to a long list of adverse health effects, starting with obesity, poor blood sugar control and diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and heart disease. Sugary drinks are among the most fattening aspects of the modern diet. Soda in a home increases a child's lifelong battle with obesity by 80%. So maybe you don't want to treat yourself good for you, but maybe we need to treat ourselves so that somebody else can have a better foundation to grow up in. And maybe you don't drink soda, but you'd be going to the Starbucks and getting a smoothie called what's it called? A latte, or I don't know what it's called. And just getting an adult milkshake, you know what I'm saying? And we have to treat ourselves better, y'all. It's a new year. Just because it's my birthday, it's a new year for all of us, that we can make some decisions to step into something that God has for us. So, what we do for our bodies now affect us in the future. If you're stiff now, you're just stiff, you can't bend over now and tie your shoes comfortably, then you're just 3 years away from some Velcro shoes. You know what I'm saying? It's not just all of a sudden miraculously going to get better and you're like, oh, look, I can now bend over. We have to understand the inflammation that we're causing in our body through all these things that we're putting in our body. The inflammation's not going to go away unless we deal with it through our decisions. If you can't walk up a flight of stairs now without getting winded, that doesn't get better on its own. So you can go and work 70 hours a week and make all the money, but you're not going to be able to travel. You're not going to get to go and have beautiful vacations. You got all the money, but you can't walk your tail up around those cities. All of the world is not ADA compliant like America. I travel and I go places, I'm like, man, if you can't walk, you can't go anywhere around here. We have to treat ourselves with some respect. If we just keep ignoring our blood pressure and our acid reflux and our dental issues, and we ignore the scale, our future us has to deal with it. And this year, it's my prayer that you treat yourself like you have to live with yourself for the rest of your life. You have to live with you forever. You could leave everybody. You could leave your husband, leave your wife. You could leave your kids. You could quit your job. You could move to another city where you don't know anybody. But you know who's going with you? You. Treat yourself like you have to live with yourself for the rest of your life. And so this year, I'm committed to treating me like I want my future me to be positioned better than I currently am. Future you needs you to treat yourself well. And so I was thinking about that this week. You remember a couple of years ago, there was like a Facebook, Instagram trend where you would take a picture of yourself and put it in this app and it would make you look old. Do you remember that? And so I went and found that out. Pastor Tim found it for me. And I thought, okay, when I'm 70, what am I going to look like? And so I put myself through the app. So here's a picture of me and Rachel now. Here's me and Rachel. That's us at Christmas. Looking good. But someday, here's what's coming. Someday, it's coming. Be like, welcome to March. Or I'm not. What happened? She threw her shoe at me? Yeah, Rachel. But can I, it's coming. It's coming. This is someday. This is what's happening. And can I just tell you what this guy needs? What this guy needs is this guy to make the right decisions to treat himself. Because if this guy makes bad decisions, this guy has to pay the consequences. Do you know what this lady needs? She is beautiful. She is gifted and highly favored. I love her. But do you know what? You know what that lady needs? She's a bow tie. What that lady needs is this lady to treat herself. That lady someday is going to wish that that lady treated herself well. And so I started to think about it for us, and then I thought, well, let's see what the rest of the staff will look like. And so I put Pastor Tim and Beth in there, and so here's Tim and Beth now. They look so nice. Don't they look good? And so here's Tim at 70. Beth looks great. I'm like, Beth, nothing even happened, but Tim, dude, you're killing me. Tim said for the win. Yeah, Tim did a good job. Okay, here's Pastor Phil and Stormy. Here they are now. Look, oh, they're so beautiful. Here goes Pastor Phil in just a couple of years. Bam! He's still got his hair all spiky. Look at him. Now, I got to tell you, the Barths are on vacation this week, and so is Enrique. So I decided to run them all through the thing 2 times. And so here's Aaron and Whitney now. Love them, our friends. They're blessed and anointed. But here's what's coming for Aaron and Whitney. Oh! Look at Aaron's teeth. I ran them through twice. I screenshot it and I ran it through again. But can I just tell you, what this guy hopes is he doesn't poop his pants. But what this guy hopes is that this guy will make the decisions today to set that guy up in his future. Last one. Here's Enrique and Cassandra. Love them. They're the best. But Enrique, here's what's coming, dog. That's what's up. It's my birthday. I'll do anything I want up here. Enrique looks like one of them little elves that lives in the tree and makes cookies. What's their names? The Keebler elves. Enrique be looking like a Keebler elf someday. They're not here. You can't do nothing about it. And so, oh, dude, my face hurts. But can I tell you, the issues in our life today are going to still be with us. Because I could take every one of y'all's pictures and run it through a little filter and see what's coming. And you might like it or hate it, but can I tell you, it's up to us what the lives those people get are. Your marriage, your money, your midsection, they won't get better without intentional focus. And my hope is that this year, together we can be intentionally focused to step into real health. Your future you's relying on you. What do you need to do this year to treat yourself well? What do you need to do? Maybe I talked about it, maybe I didn't. What's the thing, the area, the thing that the whole time the Holy Spirit's been talking to you that you need to work on? What do you need to do? Now, I want to encourage you. You can't fix it all in one moment. This is what I do. I set 1,000 impossible goals for myself, and then I'm like, I'm going to read 52 books this year. And then I get to the end of January, and I'm on the third paragraph of the first book, and I'm like, I'm a loser, right? No, you're not. It's because we set impossible goals for ourselves. So you can't fix it all quick. But we have to understand that the results that we want always don't just happen overnight. You will not have a super marriage after one coffee date. You can't not work on the thing for a decade and expect after 3 counseling sessions to love each other and have no issues. It takes time. We can't expect that we're going to get out of debt in 1 month when we've been accruing debt for 20 years. We can't expect that our keg is going to turn into a 6-pack after 3 sessions of sit-ups. I wish it happened, but it didn't. We have to set realistic goals. But what if every week this year, you just got better 1%? Just 1%, you made a little bit more progress. You know what happened? By the end of the year, you would be 52% better. And after 2 years, you would be 104% better than you were before. And I think that the older version of you would really appreciate you taking care of yourself, treating yourself so that you could be better. Because guys, today matters. Today matters. I want to encourage you that you can do it. I know that some of you are mad at me right now. I'm going to cause a fight on the car ride home. Some of y'all are going to go home and throw out all the junk food out your pantry. I know. But you can do it. I know it feels like, but I've tried. But have you tried with God's help? Have you tried in a community of people that are all in the same trajectory trying to accomplish something? You can do it this time. Come on. If you don't believe me, believe the Bible. It says in Matthew 19:26, with God, all things are possible. We sang that song, when I call your name, right? Well, maybe we need to start calling his name when it's midnight and we're looking in our refrigerator like a raccoon in the trash can. It's in that moment we got to call on his name. It's that moment that you see someone else smoking and you wish that you had a cigarette to suck on, that you say, when I call your name. Some of you need to get that Bible verse tattooed on that finger, so when you're about to light it up, you're like, oop, nope, I'm not going to do it. Mark 9:23, all things are possible for those who believe. The same power that raised Christ from the dead lives in you. You can overcome it. The Bible says in Isaiah 41, don't be afraid. God says, for I am with you. Do not be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and I will help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. We don't have the discipline on our own all the time. That's why we need God to come in and help us when we're weak. Isaiah 40, he gives strength to the weak and increases the power of the weak. Even youth grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings as eagle over the problems, and they will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. 1% might feel slow, but progress is progress. Losing 30 pounds in 30 days is not sustainable, but losing 12 pounds over 12 months would change your life. 1% of progress is a lot better than none. And maybe 1 week you'll make 3%. And the next week you'll fall backwards 15%. Just keep going. None of us are perfect, but we have to be making progress. This year is your year. And I feel it. I feel it. This year's your year to make the change, to make the shift, to do the thing that God's called you to do. You know how sometimes people will ask what your spirit animal is? Have you ever heard this? It's not biblical at all, but it's a fun exercise. And so people will ask, what's your spirit animal? And what I want to answer is like silverback gorilla. You know, I want to answer rhinoceros. Like this is my, my powerful, but they're actually really kind, and they look scary, but they're not. That's the hippo. And so rhino, I want to be one of these animals. But as I mature, I realize that maybe my actual spirit animal is one that's not so big and so intimidating, but that I really just want to be the ant. The ant. That's my spirit animal. You're like, Pastor, that's weird and an odd turn in the sermon. I don't even know what you're talking about right now. Let me tell you what the Bible says. Someday I want to do a ant series or like a bug series. Bugs of the Bible? I don't know, that'd be weird. Probably nobody would come. I don't know, except the Orkin man. I don't know. Okay. Proverbs chapter 6. Stupid. Proverbs chapter 6, it's my birthday. The Bible says this. Go to the ant, you sluggard. God, that's a mean word. You lazy bum. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander or overseer or ruler, yet it works hard all summer, gathering food for the winter and storing up its provisions. It works when it doesn't have to for tomorrow. It thinks about who it's going to be in another season. Bible goes on, how long will you lie there, you sluggard? When I read the word sluggard, it makes me think of a slug. You know, a little fat little slug, you know, it doesn't go very fast. It leaves a trail of slime everywhere that it goes. The ant and the slug. When will you get up from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little too much Netflix and YouTube and, you know, snacks. A little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a thief and scarcity like an armed man. Poverty in our marriages. Poverty in our health. Poverty in our finances, in our relationship with God. The sluggard. The slug. Are you living that slug life? Yeah, dog. Are you living that slug life? And in what areas? It's funny because in some areas you can be an ant, but then in this one area, slug life. And I've learned for me that I can be an ant in 80%, but in the 20% of my slugginess, that's what's going to kill me. And so this year, we're trying to get rid of the slug life. We're trying to live responsible. We're trying to live in a way that's treating ourselves better. Proverbs 6, verse 4 goes on. It says, listen, this is a word for you. Don't put it off. Do it now. Don't rest until you do. Don't put it off. I know we've been about to be quitting smoking. I know we've been about to getting around to getting a better diet and a gym member. I know we've been about to. Well, it's time. It's time, church, for us to treat ourselves in a way so we can do everything God's called us to. Proverbs 24, verse 30 goes on and talks a little bit more about the slug. It says, I went past the field of the sluggard, past the vineyard of someone who had no sense. So there's some lazy guy who owns a field, a vineyard. And it says thorns had come up everywhere, problems. And the ground was covered with weeds, it hadn't been kept. And the walls, the stone wall was in ruins. Our lives are supposed to be producing fruit that other people can eat from. But if we allow the walls, the barriers, the things that we say, nope, I'm not doing that anymore. Nope, I'm not allowing that into my life. When the stone walls are broken down and we don't maintain the things that are falling around on the ground around us, we stop producing fruit. And I feel like I want you to know that next year's coming. Your next birthday's around the corner. Before we know it, we're going to be screaming, it's 2025. Who do you want to be next year? Who you want to be next year is determined by who we are today.